anyway, RAdm Iqbal from Bangladesh, who's CEO of the RAdm M Company, with particular interest in ports, logistics and economic zones, who's going to speak to us about the vexed issue of ship recycling. So, thank you very much, Admiral.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Professor Geoffrey Till. I remember being all the naval officers. His book, Maritime Strategy and the Nuclear Age, was like our Bible during the staff college time. And it's my privilege to be seated in the same row with him. Chief of the Naval Staff, Indian Navy, admirals, former Chief of the Naval Staff, dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, Shuprabhat. This is my privilege to be invited here again at this Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue by NMF. And I particularly thank Admiral Karambar Singh, the chair of this NMF, and Vice Admiral Pradeep Chauhan, who has always been my inspiration for the last several years. With Admiral Sir, on your right, seated Admiral Sulil Namba, who was my commandant in the NDC, and on your left, the young DS in the Staff College 25 years back, Admiral Karambar Singh. It's a huge challenge for me to do justice. Let's see how much I can do. But anyway, with Captain Saqib Al Hassan, timed out, Angelo Matthews the way, I hope that Professor Geoffrey Till is going to consider my case. Anyway. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we have been discussing on the nodes, maritime nodes, connectivity issues, the shipping and ships. Now we are on the other spectrum of this shipping business. What is going to happen to all these ships once they complete their life, operational life? As you know, that design, construction, operation, the scrapping. So this ship recycling is the end of the journey for a ship. And given the huge number of audience, the young entrepreneurs, I have decided to use few of the slides, some basic slides, and then I will go to analyze in the case of the Indo-Pacific. So basically, ship recycling, somebody call it ship dismantling, somebody call ship, ship demolition. In South Asian beaches, in Bangladesh or in India, we just call it shipbreaking. And that is the more popular term. And there is a global recognition, thought process that anything and everything that just send it to the beaches of Bangladesh and to some extent to Indian beaches, that goes scrapped. So anyway, that is a major issue. And thank you very much, Admiral Chauhan, for bringing this, I would say, very odd topic. And it has been another encouraging thing to see that you have added this, because this is at the end of the journey. So in South Asia, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, these three countries constitute about more than 80% of the shipbreaking globally. And that's an amazing thing. So somebody considers that shipbreaking, this is a dirty business. Yes, so far, last several decades, it has been considered as such. But now, it is an essential element of the blue economy. In Bangladesh, for example, our ministry, they have decided demarcated about 27 elements of blue economy. Okay, shipping, fisheries, like that. Ship recycling is an important element of blue economy for obvious reasons, that it really supports the local shipbuilding. The steel goes to the recycling, the re-rolling mills, and then they get recycled. And at the same time, the backward linkage industries that they get supported. So, I can say that ship breaking is also constituting the circular economy that we really are opting for nowadays. There's one term called the green steel. I will just make a quick point on the green steel. Green steel is something produced in an environmentally friendly and sustainable methods with low carbon emission. You see the bottom line. A virgin steel constitutes about 1.7 ton per ton steel of CO2, whereas a recycled steel constitutes about 0.65 2.68 ton of ton steel per the CO2. So in a way, the recycled steel and the ship recycling is giving rise to the green steel, and that is a very encouraging thing for the blue economy. Well, before I go embark on the shipbreaking industries as such, let me, because this has got a huge link with the shipping trends and the shipbuilding trends. So what is the shipbuilding trend? You see that as we have been discussing last 2 days, Indo-Pacific maritime connectivity is going to remain as a linchpin. And among Lloyd's 100 container ports list, every year they bring out this list, 9 out of 10 are in the Indo-Pacific. And 7 out of 10 are in China. So you see, I will make a point at the end, because in the greater connotation of our today's the theme of the session, the geopolitical impact, and especially the Chinese impact, it has a huge impact on the ship recycling as well. I will make towards the end. Okay, so ships recycling as a business and industry will have a direct link to the increasing shipping business. Well, so this slide shows the shipbuilding market analysis. The dark blue portion, as you can see, that is the Indo-Pacific. Undoubtedly, for the shipbuilding industries, that's going to remain important sector globally, especially Japan, China, and South Korea, these 3 countries. And as you have been hearing from other speakers, India needs to pick up, because this is somewhere we are missing out, and the future is going to be a competition on economic front. All of us know that. So shipping and shipbuilding is very important. Well, so just one slide on the major ship owners and the country of registration. Commodore Shantanu, he has already mentioned about the flag of convenience. So we know that the vessel may be owned by one country, but the flag by another country. And 72% of the global tonnage that makes out the flag of convenience. So when you consider the TEU, that is the containerization of the ships, out of that there are 10 mainline operators, like the Maersk Line you have heard. So the bottom slide you can see that the MSC, that the Mediterranean Shipping Company, they have got 717 vessels with 4.6 million TEU. And so these are the 10 ship owners, and the top slide that shows the few countries, including Panama and Liberia, which are the major countries having the flag of convenience vessels. So why I'm telling their names? Because they are actually primarily responsible how I'm going to go do this ship recycling business. Which shipyards I'm going to send? Are they properly environmentally covered or compliant or not? This is important. Okay, so basically the global ship recycling footprints, as I mentioned already, that Bangladesh, India, China, Pakistan, and Turkey, these 5 countries constitute 92% of the global ship recycling footprints. Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan make more than 80%. So far, but for future, there is a huge implications of the Hong Kong Convention, which is going to come in my next slides. Okay, just a little dark slide. I'm sure you can see it. You can, as you can identify, Bangladesh in 2022 has scrapped 122 ships. India, they are down 127 ships. Pakistan, 43 ships. So 292 out of 443 vessels have been scrapped by these countries. So see the huge implications for the ship recycling as an element of blue economy for countries like South Asia. Okay, this is a very interesting slide. 64% is the contribution of recycled steel against countries' steel use, whereas for Pakistan, India is only 4%. So that means the burden is heavily on Bangladesh. How much we are going to comply with the Hong Kong Convention in near future? Because 64% of our recycled steel is contributing to the steel industries. Just imagine, that's a huge number. We are heavily dependent on this particular sector. Okay, so recycling projection around the globe, I can safely say that in next 5 years or 10 years time, the ship recycling market is going to be quadrupled by 2033. Okay, so what are the shipbreaking market drivers? One is the increasing demand for recycling materials. More and more the circular economy is coming into place. So for that reason, ship recycling is very important. Ship owners nowadays prefer to scrap the ships before time, because with the age it becomes difficult for the ship owners to maintain the vessel for the cost purpose. So it is more economic for them to straight away send the ships for scrapyard to the graveyard and just build a new ship. And in the market, because of the huge competition among the shipping lines, the mainline operators and other shipping companies, there is more number of ships in the market than required, and that is why the ship recycling is going to stay and will continue remaining as an important element. So regulatory landscape, I'll just quickly mention a few of the regulations that we have internationally. In the past, the IMO, the Maritime Environmental Policies, MEPC, used to give guidelines. Then the ILO also, International Labour Organizations, had got a lot of guidelines for the ship breaking. The main guidelines so far was given by the Basel Convention, the UNEP Basel Convention 1989. European Union has got their own ship recycling regulations that has come into force a few years back, and there is a huge difference with the Hong Kong Convention. Now that brings me to the aspect of the Hong Kong Convention 2009, and this picture is important because there's a High Commissioner of Bangladesh to UK, the madam is handing over the instrument of ratification to the IMO chairperson, and with the 15th country, the Hong Kong Convention is going to come into force on 26th of June 2025, 2 years after the surrender of the instrument of ratification. And this is a historic moment, but this is going to add a huge pressure and burden on countries like Bangladesh and other countries of South Asia who want to have this ship recycling as an element of blue economy. So there are some legal challenges, like Hong Kong Convention allows the beaching method, but the EU regulation has banned the ship recycling by the beaching method. That's a huge difference, and we need to see whether we have to avoid the beaching method and go for the dock method, something like that. And like UNEP Basel Convention bans export of toxic wastes from OECD country to the non-OECD country, but the Hong Kong Convention has not banned that. So there are other hazards and challenges. I will skip this slide because the unskilled workers, health and safety issues, occupational hazards, environmental challenges, these are self-explanatory. So I will show this slide. I thought she is Ingvild Jensen, Executive Director of NGO Shipbreaking Platform. You see, not everyone is fond of the Hong Kong Convention. What she has said, this international convention rubber stamps the shipbreaking on tidal mudflats and ignores the labor rights and the international rules for hazardous waste management. Okay, next. She is Rezwana Hassan, Director of BELA, Bangladesh Environmental Law Association. This entry into force of the flawed Hong Kong Convention is not a time for celebration. We will be calling for changes so that it meets expectations of environmental justice, labor rights, and circular economy objectives. So that means even Hong Kong Convention has got a lot of observations. Some other challenges are, we have international conventions in place, but only 15 or 16 countries have ratified so far, out of close to 200 countries. So all other countries need to ratify, because in spite of Hong Kong Convention coming into force, we need to really ratify very quickly. Then the flag of convenience has been explained by my previous speaker. Unfortunately, there is this flag of convenience business. There are the unscrupulous business dealers, or the middlemen. Just before sending the ships to their graveyard, they are changing the flag, and there is no genuine link between the owner of the ship and the ship it is flying the flag when it is going to the graveyard. And that's a huge problem. So that is why we need a more collaboration among us. Growing competition between compliant and non-compliant industries. Okay, here I'd like to make the case of China. You see, whenever we discuss about China, we have to imagine that they are making fast progress in the shipping business on one end, in the ship recycling on the other. There was a time, even few decades back, We used to read in the newspapers about the peculiar and awful labor rights condition, workers' rights condition in China. They have made a lot of improvement. In the ship recycling business, they have complied the Hong Kong Convention. In a way, Hong Kong Convention is going to benefit China rather than South Asian countries, because we need to comply Hong Kong Convention by more than 200 years that Bangladesh has, another 200 years that India has, and Pakistan as well, and other countries. So problem is, because of the European Union regulation, they have started sending more ships to China now, because they cannot send to the non-compliant yards. This is number one. China has now banned any ships which is not registered in China to be broken in the Chinese yards. That is another trick that they have utilized. So that means European Union ships, more and more they are vying, they are opting for going into alliance with Chinese companies and registration in China so that they can be broken in Chinese yards. You see, there are three big alliances in the shipping lines. Maersk Line with CMA CGM. So there is a COSCO, that is the biggest Chinese shipping line. They have got the alliance with the CMA CGM. That's a French company. CMA CGM, number 2 company in the world. Number 1 is the MSC. Number 3 is the Maersk Line. So there is more and more footprints in the shipping sectors, and they are devising their options, they are devising their regulations, China, so that, okay, so what is the way ahead? Just my last 2 slides. We need early transition for shipbreaking market survival. We have to transform our shipyards very quickly if we really want to have this vital element of blue economy. Comprehensive regional maritime policy. I'm a heavy promoter of BIMSTEC. I will again tell that why not in Bay of Bengal, because 3 countries are here actually, the major shipbreaking industries. So we need to have comprehensive policy with the UNCLOS, MARPOL, SOLAS Convention, ISPS, and the Hong Kong Convention. We can have a port alliances, you know, like the Star Alliance or the Airlines Port Alliance. Why not to have a port alliance between Chittagong, Matarbari, Calcutta, Chennai, having similar port state control measures? We need support of OECD countries because major stakes are with them. They are the major ship owners. They need to fund for our efforts to comply to Hong Kong Convention. That is my point. Ratify, enact, and enforce. Global partnerships we need among the ship owners, shipbreakers, employers, trade unions, everyone. Financial stakeholders, World Bank and the Asian Development Bank and other banks, when they lend money, they comply. So this is something that they need to do. Role of the media, NGOs, and watchdogs is absolutely important. I will just show this slide. Ship Recycling Transparency Initiative, SRTI, they are a NGO, and they use the transparency and self-disclosure by online reporting policies. So all the shipping lines, the ship owners, and other industries, they can be voluntary to take part in this particular online procedures. And interesting is this initiative enables the investors also to better assess the related risks and responsibilities. And this is my last slide, that for the SRTI, as you can see, there are 12 disclosing ship owners. They have made part of the SRTI, 5 cargo owners, and you can see the CMA CGM is there. Number 2, you can see the Maersk Line is there, number 3. So I don't see the MSC, but number 2 and number 3 mainland operator globally, they are part of the SRTI. So in future, you will find that unless we have these compliant ship recycling yards, it is going to be very difficult. So finally, it's all cooperation, capacity building, and I would say cooperative capacity building. And of course, ship recycling industries, the compliant measures, it will need a lot of money. And of course, if we have the good intention and support from other countries and the regional support, India is a major player here, and I'm sure if we really want to keep this particular industry within our South Asian context, we need to give more attention and focus on this particular industry. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.